Hey guys, C-Dub here, and we are going to review Spider-Man vs. Wolverine High Tide. I'm going to review it, give you guys my score, so let's get into it. Wolverine vs. Spider-Man High Tide. It starts out with Wolverine with his, I was going to say girl, but at the beginning of the comic you think it's a guy who is Charlemagne, and of course, I'm going to give you some behind the scenes stuff. I didn't want to cast a male voice and a female voice because I just thought, why do that? Especially if they're talking one-on-one. If Wolverine and Charlemagne are close to each other, there's no reason for her to hide the voice because Wolverine knows who she is, so there would be no reason to hide that voice. And also with all the gunfire and stuff, they're already caught. There would be no reason for her to hide it. Now, when you're reading it, it makes sense, but if you hear audio and stuff like that, it wouldn't make sense to have a hidden voice. So during the comic, you would think it's a guy, but of course, as it gets later on into the issue, you realize it's a girl. Charlemagne had been double-crossed, and now Wolverine and her have to get out. They're after her. Wolverine goes into this berserker rage, and Charlemagne gets free, and then we get into Spider-Man. Spider-Man's doing his spider patrol and doing the Spider-Man thing, and he happens to run across Charlemagne, but he noticed there's something different about her, but he doesn't notice what it is, and he goes into the store owner's business, and he finds out that they have both been shot, the couple, and that leads into why Charlemagne was there, because we know it's Charlemagne, but Spider-Man doesn't. Well, we know now that it's Charlemagne who was there and shot the couple. Spider-Man does not know this, and he thinks it's a robbery or something's gone wrong. Later we go to the Daily Bugle, and Ned leads as well after Charlemagne, and he's trying to get a lead, get all the information he can for the Bugle. Later, Spider-Man meets up with Mary Jane, and shooting and stuff is happening while they're out. And that is also Charlemagne, as she's trying to get revenge on all the people who betrayed her. Jameson lets Ned Lee go after this lead, and that's all the way in Germany. And he has to bring Peter Parker because Peter is a photographer and he needs one that's willing to do a good job and as well as be in danger. And since Peter Parker is always with Spider-Man, there's always danger, so of course they go with him. Back to Wolverine, and she gets a message that Charlemagne is in danger, so he goes and leaves the X-Men, which kind of leaves them high and dry. And if you were reading the X-Men at this time, you know there was a lot of shit going down. Storm is the leader at this time, she has the Mohawk, and X-Men was always dealing with a lot, so it's kind of, a little bit fucked up that he's leaving them, but hey, it's a hard decision to make. Wolverine heads to Germany and he finds Peter Parker there, but the smell tells him it's Spider-Man, so that's how he knows Spider-Man's secret identity. And Peter didn't really want to go, but it made it easier when him and Mary Jane were kind of having an argument. I really wouldn't say that. It was more of a disagreement, but they're going through this whole will they, won't they get together, and it's getting Peter complicated, so it made it easier when him and MJ are just kind of sort of beefing, but I wouldn't really say that. It's just a weird dynamic they have at this time right now in the comic. He goes to check Spider-Man out and see if he's with the KGB, CIA, whatever organization he's with. He finds out that Peter is over his head. And that's going to be a running theme of this comic, that Peter is really, really over his head here. He really doesn't know what's going on. Also, this is kind of sort of a different Peter Parker that we're dealing with. This is still a younger Peter Parker who's like really kind of fresh out of college. I think at this time he's either fresh out of college or really in just starting college. He's somewhere in there because he didn't go to college that long and he dropped out. But point being is this is still a very young Peter Parker. And he goes back and he finds that Ned Lead is dead. And since he's dead, now he's starting to get the picture and realize, damn, these guys are serious. And he starts to panic. But the thing is, Spider-Man is 10, 20 times stronger than these guys, but these are killers. And it's just a whole different thing that he's had to deal with. Most of his villains aren't really killers like that. He's never had to deal with these type of people who just are trained to take people out. He's had to deal with Doc Ock, Green Goblin. These aren't people who are trained specifically to just kill someone. They usually have their scheme and goal, but they're just not murderers like that. They don't just kill indiscriminately. They'll kill, but they don't just kill anyone because someone orders them to. He starts hesitating. Wolverine comes in and they take care of him. And that's the thing. Wolverine is more prepared for this than Spider-Man is. This almost convinces Spider-Man to leave, but he decides against it when the whole great power comes with great responsibility thing gets popped into his head, and he decides to stay. And that's a big problem with Spider-Man here, because he needs to realize that it is time to go. This was a mistake, and it's going to cost him later on, but this was really just shows you that sometimes you need to understand when it's not your time to do something. It reminds me of The Wire, and they're saying, you're giving a fuck when it's not your turn to give a fuck. That's pretty much what Spider-Man is doing right now. He tries to follow Wolverine with a tracer, and of course, Wolverine's 3 steps ahead of him. He knows it's coming, and he tells him to go home. And of course, Spider-Man still does not go home. So there's multiple warnings like, hey, get out. This is not your area of expertise. You need to go and go home, go back to New York and take care of the other criminals right now. You're not ready for this. Wolverine meets up with Charlemagne, and I would say that I would have took that deal when she was offering him all this and like you could have it at the end. He was like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, I would have took it. You know, it's better to take it than for it to go to waste or go to someone else who will just use it wrong or treat it wrong or doesn't deserve it. I'd have took it if I was Wolverine, by the way. I would have took all that money and riches. I'm just saying. He didn't take it, obviously, but big mistake, I think. Charlemagne, by the way, has killed a lot of people before Wolverine even gets to her and meets her, so he's killed, I keep saying he because of the comic, but she's killed a lot of people. Lot of people. And she's not even close to done, by the way. There's a lot more people she's going to kill. They go out to eat, and now they're kind of feeling a little bit more comfortable, both of them, because they're with each other. And if they are with each other, they think they can take care of each other and be okay with each other. So now everything's kind of okay. Not great, but it's okay. Until, of course, Spider-Man ruins it. Ruins everything because he interrupts everybody. And they were prepared to take care of it, Wolverine and Charlemagne, at dinner. Because eventually they do go out to dinner. And they eat at this very high-profile restaurant that costs crazy amounts more than your rent and stuff. And they go out to eat. And, of course, Spider-Man, he just ruins it. And they were already, like I said, about to take care of these people. They were going to poison Wolverine and Charlemagne, but they already knew that everything was poison. Spider-Man tries to tell them this, but once again, they're 3 or 4 steps ahead of Spider-Man. He's still catching up. During the fight, Charlemagne gets away with all the ruckus and all 3 of them fighting. She gets away, and now Spider-Man and Wolverine have to look for her. Now, of course, Charlemagne's a step ahead of them because she knows how to deal with Wolverine. She has to be 2 steps ahead of him because of Wolverine's tracking skills. She knows when she wants to be found, and she knows how to get him to find her. So that's all Charlemagne's deal is. She knows how to deal with Wolverine. So if she doesn't want to be found, Wolverine can't find her. And that's the trouble that they're dealing with right now. And she's just killing a whole bunch of CIA and KGB operatives along the way while they're trying to get to her first, but they can't get to her. This leads to the both of them about to fight each other, and that's because Wolverine is getting frustrated. He can't find her, and this is his friend, and right now he knows she's in very critical danger. And Spider-Man's kind of ruined all of his plans. He had found her, and then now Spider-Man has wrecked that. So they're about to fight. Eventually, they all calm down, but it's more so, I would say, Spider-Man calming down and just leaving. Wolverine was ready to go, I think, at that point. Wolverine thinks he's too hard on him. I'm like, no, you weren't too hard on him. You gave him multiple chances. Spider-Man is really fucking up right now. He is fucking everything up, being just inexperienced and not knowing how to deal. He can't deal with these killers when he's 15, 20 times stronger than them, and he can't deal with them because he's nervous because they're ready to kill and he's not. That's another thing. Spider-Man's always holding back. These people are trying to kill, and it doesn't matter who they kill to get the job done. Charlemagne reaches out to Wolverine, and Charlemagne wants Wolverine to kill her because she's dead as it is. She's killed so many KGB, CIA, that there's nowhere that she can run and be safe and live a normal life. She's always going to be on the run, but she wanted to take as many of them down as she can. Now that she's accomplished that, she asked Wolverine to kill her because if they get to her, they're going to torture her, and they are going to just really fuck her up. Like, it's going to be a slow, painful death. Wolverine can make it quick. Also, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. They are going to get to her. Wolverine knows it, she knows it. But to be fair, I mean, the X-Men are always on the run. Maybe he could have took her to the X-Men mansion, and I don't think they're going to fuck with her there, but Then again, I guess you don't want to have a human there when they're kind of beefing with humans, and also you kind of just left them high and dry for her. I don't know. I mean, they'd probably accept her though, so I don't know why he wouldn't try it, but hey, we'll just go with the story here. He's about to kill her, and Spider-Man interrupts, and this begins the fight between the two. Spider-Man, of course, is trying to stop him because he doesn't believe in killing in any situation, and also he just doesn't know. He just thinks he's trying to kill her, but when he's trying to explain, like, no, I have to, or they're going to torture her, Spider-Man just doesn't get it. Like I said, young and inexperienced, he just doesn't understand. The fight goes about how I expected it. Wolverine and Spider-Man go for a little bit. Wolverine gets a slight upper hand, and then Spider-Man turns it around, and of course, Spider-Man can kill him. He can kill him, snap his neck and wins, but he doesn't do it. Thing I would say here is that a young, inexperienced Spider-Man, I think, would lose to this Wolverine. Now, if we take the Spider-Man who's more of an adult and we put that one against Wolverine, I think Spider-Man easily destroys. Well, I wouldn't say easily, but he will beat Wolverine. I've always thought Spider-Man could beat him, just not this young and inexperienced one, because he's just not ready to do what needs to be done as much as an adult Spider-Man. So I think always that Spider-Man would beat Wolverine. He can kill him. There is ways to beat and kill Wolverine. It's just that this one isn't ready to pull the trigger as much as an adult one would be. Also, I think Wolverine was holding back a little bit in this fight as well as Spider-Man. Actually, I think Spider-Man was going a little bit harder than Wolverine because he was way more worried about Wolverine killing him. And I don't think Wolverine was at that mind state yet. He was getting there. And it worried Spider-Man enough that he thought that Wolverine was going to kill him. So he started to think like, okay, I might have to kill this guy to win. And of course, that's when he says, you don't have the guts to do it. Anyway, after both of them realize Spider-Man won't be able to kill him, the KGB and CIA, all of them, they approach the scene. And that's when his spider sense goes off because he thinks Wolverine's trying to fight. But it's actually Charlemagne who triggered it. He hits her, kills her, one punch, bam. The reason the one punch, of course, killed her is because he thinks he's punching Wolverine. He's punching Wolverine pretty hard during this fight. Like, he is really, really punching him enough to where you can dent cars with it. You know, it's a very strong. This isn't him holding back like he is against Doc Ock and stuff like that. Like, he's really trying to take this dude's head off because of how strong and durable Wolverine is. He kills him, and they both go their separate ways. A little after that, everybody kind of got what they wanted here, except for Spider-Man. Spider-Man took, to me, the biggest L out of everything, because he had to kill someone, and you know he's very against killing. It's fucking up with his mind state a little bit. I wish they would have continued that in the other Spider-Man comics, but I don't even think they mentioned it that much after this. Wolverine got what he wanted, because a quick, painful death, that's pretty much what she got. The CIA and KGB got what they needed as well. They just wanted to kill her. But she did take a whole bunch of them down. Charlemagne got that. So she got what she wanted. Like I said, Spider-Man should have went home. He should have went home. And none of this would have, of course, happened. So yes, Spider-Man definitely takes the biggest L in this. But he does go to see Mary Jane after. And it's kind of a hint that they'll get together at the end. And that's the end of the issue. I would give this issue, I'd say a 7.5 out of 10. There's things that could have been better, but it's really solid, really fun read, especially if you just like Spider-Man and Wolverine. I do recommend it. The reason it's not a little bit higher is because a lot of this doesn't get mentioned in the Amazing Spider-Man comic. I think the Ned Leeds death counted towards the Amazing Spider-Man run, so that counted, but they don't really mention him dealing with the fact that he killed someone. It's really not brought up that much in the main run. So 7.5 for this issue. I want to thank everyone who I was able to cast for this. I enjoyed the voices. I hope you guys did. And yeah, that's my review. It's a little bit of behind the scenes. It wasn't that much. It was not really enough to say. I didn't have a lot. I really like the Wolverine voice, the person who played Wolverine as well. Extra shout out to him. And yeah, not that much behind the scenes to really say. So that'll do it, guys. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll have some more dubs out soon. See you in about. Peace.